Alright, hi, I'm Zest, and I'm a red panda, and welcome back to Dwarf Fortress. So, let's get started back into this game, where we will teach you all a little bit more about Dwarf Fortress. Right. Alright. Here we go. So, now, it's a little different than last time because I loaded up my other file, which is on a volcano, which is super rad. Alright, nope, looks like it's working. My dwarfs seem to be claymen? What the heck? I'm gonna go K again to look at them. I don't think the game is too happy. I'm running on a different graphics pack, so things will look a little different. Oh, nope. So this is actually one it's a different one that I have that it's partially saved, but this is actually right at the start. I embarked on a really awesome location because I'm right on the edge of a volcano, which is this red stuff here. Magma is really cool because you can use it to instantly smelt stuff without having to get lumber for coal. Kind of saves you a nice little step that you don't have to deal with. So we're gonna just go right ahead and D for dig tool again, just like last time. And I think I'm gonna create my entrance right over the lava, which is just something I'm all about because I can make a drawbridge and drop my enemies into it, which if you ever want to build your own fortress like mine, you probably would be all about that as well. Alright, so the other cool thing is we got this really nice little bay area here, so I can build whatever the heck I want there. So we're going to start out just like last time. This time I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm going to create an entrance that's actually 3 wide. And I'll explain why in a little bit. That'll be part of today's short tutorial. I'm only going to stream for maybe like 30 minutes. Because in this game, another thing you want to watch for is trade depots, and wagons are something that come about every once in a while and drop off goods, and they need a walkway at least 3 wide. So I'm going to let them dig that out, and I think for now I'm going to build a little secret entrance into his sub base before I create my main base out of the lava, and then maybe I can turn this into like a little a crazy little burial mound or something. So I'm going to create just a nice little thing with the D and D again, if you remember from the last stream. And then I'll use the stone to build out over that passage. Alright, so I think the first thing I'm also going to do is, remember the workshop with the wood, so I'm going to do B and then W to build that workshop again. And we're going to want a carpenter's workshop, so which one was that again? Brain. Come on, brain. Come on, brain. C. Yeah, there we go. And I'm just going to build that right here. Use some of that mica I just dug up. It'll be all nice and green. Alright, then those guys are going to go, and I am going to go D and T again to chop down some trees, so I have some wood, so let's just chop down these guys right here. Make me some beds. Well, the gold man himself there carries a rock. I think there's something wrong with the texture pack. Alright, so since I'm going to build a little bit more conservatively, I think I'm going to build a main meeting hall here. Just so my dwarves are central. And also so I can turn this into a mausoleum later and it won't look too weird. Because as you get more advanced with this, you're starting to build ahead. Like you're thinking, I'm going to build this, and right now I need a storage area, but later I'm going to need it as, you know, like a mausoleum. Because otherwise you'll have this really weird empty space in here. And if you're looking for an epic fort, you can't have weird spaces. Alright, got that. I want you to make me some beds. So remember the Q button, add new task, build me a bed. A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. Maybe a bunch of beds. Then off of this room, I'm going to create a passageway just like last time. And we're going to give these guys some beds. I'm going to use a drawing mouse. Actually, I'm going to build this a little longer because in this game there is actually, the dwarves do get waken up if you build their beds near like workshops. So I'm just going to create a little hallway. And just create little 4x4 rooms. They don't need anything fancy, they're dwarves. Fanciness is for the elves! Sorry, replanning. Now that I'm actually building, I'm starting to get obsessive compulsive about everything. It needs to be neat and tidy. Dwarves won't complain. If they complain, I can immediately just smooth them out and make them a little prettier later. But this is only temporary, so no one's gonna care. Well, much. no one's gonna start punching anybody in the face. Yet. Alright, so I've got those rooms dug out. Those guys are gonna start digging. I've got that guy making beds. I'm gonna also build a mason's workshop. Workshops, B, W. And mason's workshop with M. I'm gonna just place that right here. Just inside here for now. Is he making that right away? Yes, cool. I was smart enough in here and I actually made the characters like a little different. So now, unlike my last one where the miner is the mason and nothing ever gets built, I actually have my work getting done right away. And so the next step, the mason's workshop is really important because you're going to use it to build dining tables and chairs and doors and everything that will make your dwarves, you know, just generally happier and make your base look cooler. The most important thing is to making some chairs and tables for them to eat on, and those are called thrones in this. So constructing a rock throne and a rock table. You can make these out of wood, but rock is like the most common thing in the game, and the dwarves don't really care whether they sit their butts on a hard rock door. Oh, excuse me, on a hard rock chair or a wood one. Their butts are quite, you know, tolerable to that kind of thing. Create some tables. So that will keep that guy busy, and you're making me beds, right? Cool. Hopefully we'll be able to get a little farther than we got last time. But this one we can continue with, because this is going to be a longer fort, because it's such an awesome area. In fact, I can even start... One thing I didn't have last time, which I'll show you a little bit now while they're digging that out, is architecture. So I'm going to hit the B button, and I'm going to create me a bridge. Bridges are very important in this game. You can use bridges as like doors, and you can also use it as, you know, gaps cause chasms, as they should be. But you can also hook them up to levers, so they'll go up and down whether or not a lever is pulled. I'm going to use that right now to build over this lava. First, I'm going to actually build out a little platform because it's going to look a little cooler. Or do I? No, let's just build it right from there. So then go to B and bridge. Okay, so now I've got a bridge sort of starting to be made. And like before, this is not like where you select it out. You actually have to use the U and K and MH, like above me here. I'll look up. Am I looking up? Can't point. I've been gesturing a lot. It's kind of embarrassing. And then I'm going to want to make it kind of like that. But important thing, don't forget, as you can see, if you look above, next to bridge, it says retracts. That's basically useless. It doesn't really... like, if you don't want it to go into a certain space, that's fine. But I want it to go a certain direction. So if you look up there, it also says WADX, says raiser. That's the direction it raises. So I'm just going to push S to do down. Oop, come on. Oops. Oh, X. X is down. S is retracts. And to see how the little dots are there, that's where it retracts to. Then I'm going to build that there. And we're going to build this out of phyllite, because there's a lot of it. I might rebuild these later into something like gold, just because having a gold bridge is super rad. It doesn't really do anything, but like I said, this game is all about the aesthetics, so if you got a sweet looking base, you got a sweet looking base. So you see those little sea icons running around? Those are actually cats, which I brought with me on this time, and those will kill random vermin that try to eat your food. So they're actually really useful for keeping your food stocks good. That's clay. So in real life you can't farm on clay, but this you can. Yes, as someone just said in the comments, there is something that happens in this game called a thermonuclear catsplosion. That happens when your cats breed and you just have 5 billion of them later. I do fear that, and I end up just giving them all to the elves. I put them all in cages and I just load them up, and when the elves come I just give them to them. And I can only imagine that their leader is just swarming with, you know, piles and piles of cats that they don't kill because they're vegetarians. It makes me laugh. Oh, it started raining. Alright, so since we've got this place cleared out, I am now going to make it a dining hall. So my dwarves stop standing in the rain and getting pissed off that they're getting rained on. To make a dining hall specifically, you can make meeting zones with I, as I'll show you there. There's a couple ways to do this. So with this, I can create a meeting area where the dwarves will just hang out. So if I wanted to create like just an area where my dwarves will keep to that doesn't have anything specific in it, they'll do that. Or like you can create fishing zones and things like that. For this, I'm going to create a dining hall, but I can easily do that by building one of those tables I did. And that's just with the B. And then you can see up on the left, well, above me here, with a C, I can build a chair, and I'm going to start placing these along the wall. And then table is just T. I got one of those built. Hey you, make me tables. And I got some rooms made, so let's build some beds. Let's build it away from the door, make it feng shui. Doesn't really matter in this game, but it matters to me. Alright, so as you see, this is waiting for an architect. I don't remember which one of my doors is an architect. Let's actually take a look. I'm going to bring up my dwarf therapist. Alright, so we're just going to go into the therapist and let's look for that architect. Architecture, there it is. So here's the architecture, and that is my... who's this? I made him my mason. So my mason's busy right now, but after he's done building those tables, he'll go over and start working on that bridge. Which is perfect because I believe it needs the mason to then finish building the bridge. But the architecture sort of plans it out. So you need to have someone with architecture, or you need to have it selected in the dwarf therapist to do that. Otherwise, your dwarves just don't do it. Alright, so those doors are built on the table. And now that this is built, I'm going to push the Q button. And as you can see, it's saying like make throne room or study. That's different. Some later on, you don't need to worry about that. Some like jobs need throne rooms or studies. For now, I just want to go to the table here and make dining room. And then I'm going to push the plus key until it goes to there. You can see it's seeped into the hallway a bit. You can prevent that by putting doors there, and then it will get cut off, and you'll have nice, neat rooms that your doors won't be, wandering around in. Alright, so now that I pushed enter, it gives me a couple more options. If we look up, we can see that I can assign a table. Not going to do that. We can free the table. What I want to do is make this a meeting hall with H, so my doors will stand around in here. And done. And while we're doing that, let's actually build a secondary room for storage on this side, because I'm going to build workshops around it. Now I'm going to start being picky. I'm going to create a little hallway. And workshops are 9 by 9, so I'm going to create this storage area surrounded by workshops. And that's because it makes things more productive. If all they have to do is just run right out and grab an item, it speeds things up and prevents, waiting around. You don't have to do it this way. I just do it because, like I said, faster. And we're just going to make that a little tiny stockpile where our dwarves can also grab food. Let's put everything in there. Later on, I'd make this like a kitchen or something. See how when I pushed make bedroom, Q, and then enter on that, it made it outside of the room. You can prevent that, like I said, by making doors, but I'm just going to do a little minus key, and the dwarves don't really care if there's no door or not. It does reduce sound, but this is nowhere near anything that's going to make a lot of noise. Now you'll notice you can't push the Q button on beds that aren't made. It has to be placed down before that will work. There's our wagon there. In a minute I'll also show you, after we get everything inside, how to disassemble the wagon. Something you're going to want to do, otherwise stuff is just going to stay out there and rot. That ain't good for nobody. So what's cool is I can smooth this stone later, so the walls will have like ribbons of zircon in them. If you've ever seen The Lord of the Rings, there's like in Moria, there's like mithril kind of carved into the walls. That's kind of like the same thing here, and it's super cool. Now you can see what's on the ground here. These are actually gems. Once I build a jeweler's workshop, I can actually carve these into things that are worth money that I can either sell or put into items that are made. So I'm just going to build a workshop to show you something really quick. This is very important. Let's build a mechanics workshop, so I'm going to use that. So remember how I told you in the last video, those little darker X's? See on the green here? I can like point my head at it. There's one box that's darker. When you're building rooms like this, you do not want to have that darker box in front of the door. Otherwise, no one can get into that room. Or worse, someone will go in there and build that, and they'll be trapped in there and they'll starve to death. So be careful when placing that. I'm just going to place that there, though, because the door is unblocked, and we're going to get out of firelight. I believe I do have a jeweler, so that's perfect. And then we're also going to make... I like to do the mechanics way because I like to make bridges, which keep you safe, as I'll show you in a minute. And then let's also build a jeweler, because we got jewels, so let's do that. Oh, now as you can see on this, see the right squares are dark? I can't build these here, otherwise they'll be trapped in there. So I got to build this here. I'm going to actually make my thing a little smaller. There we go. Alright, dwarves are happily hanging out here. What do I got here? So I'm going to quickly check something, because another thing you got to pay attention to. The cats are fine. The dwarves feed the cats. You actually don't need to worry about feeding them. But these horses will starve to death in here because there's nothing for them to eat. So an important step, which I'm going to show you to also take care of, is to build a pasture for them to hang out in. Ideally, you want to protect this, but for now, I'm just going to make a zone with I. And I'm just going to plant this out here where there's a lot of grass. Perfect and have animals. And later on, I'll wall this off, and they'll be safe in there. So it created that zone, and as you can see, I'm going to push N. That's going to make a pasture. And then, as you can see up here, it said set pen pasture information. I'm going to do Shift N, and I'm going to assign things to this. And I'm going to assign these 2 horses, so they won't sit around in that meeting area and starve. They'll sit out here, eat grass. As you can see, those 2 dwarves now just started leading those horses in there, and they'll be assigned there. They won't wander out of there. It just wasn't coded, which is perfect. So I don't need to wall them in. But now they'll hang out up there and be happy. And the rain? The animals are never bothered by the rain. Let's do K, and I'm going to take a look at these horses just to show you. See? They have no thoughts or feelings, just describes them. So it makes it easier to slaughter them because you can slaughter them. Oh, as you can see, the dwarves are now running in with food. It's apparently dinner time, which is hilarious. And now they're all eating them on their chairs. Don't you want tables, guys? Do I got any more tables built? I do. Sweet. What's cool is that farm plots are actually different whether you build them outside or inside. So this outdoor one will have different crops available. Although you have less of those crops, because unless you buy more, you don't really have the berry bushes and stuff like that. There's our farmer dwarf now, covered in mud, it looks like. I gotta use a different texture pack after this. What is this? Oh, yeah. Something they actually introduced recently is that wheelbarrows. One thing you can do with stockpiles is if you go to it, you can assign wheelbarrows to it, and those will make the dwarves get the wheelbarrows and quickly transport things, which is really important. Right now it only has 1 max wheelbarrow to it, but I can assign 2. I'll keep it on 1 because it's so tiny. But let's take our carpenter's workshop actually and make a couple wooden wheelbarrows here. Now, bridges actually do have a maximum length. What I built there was the maximum length for that. In order to build like a cool little platform up there, I gotta make a little, like an extension for it. So now is where the game gets kind of technical in how you kind of want to do certain things. But like I said, this game is actually pretty simple when you think about it. The things that are special are actually when you want to do something fancy. Alright, so now I'm going to make my stockpile in here so my dwarves can, get the stuff a little easier. And this one, I'm going to have everything. Not animals. We want food, arrow keys, E, food, furniture, not corpses, refuse, not stone though, disable. Ammo, coins, bars, finished goods, leather, cloth, wood, weapons, armor, sheet. There we go. Now our dwarves will start carrying important stuff in there. And for this one, since it's bigger, I'm going to put, 3 wheelbarrows in there. Oh, I forgot to make these bedrooms. They're sleeping in them, but a dwarf likes it more when they have a bedroom they can call their own, because they'll start leaving their clothes in there. And you can actually build them dressers too, which will stop them from leaving their clothes everywhere. You don't have to, but like I said, things get a little bit more complicated when you want to do something cool. Alright, got my little jeweler's workshop here. Let's actually, I think I do have a jeweler. I'm just going to look at Dwarf Fortress really quick. Alright, Dwarf Therapist. If I don't, that's no problem, because jewelers will come in migration waves. Every once in a while you'll get migrant waves of dwarves who want to come and live in your fort, and they'll have random skills assigned to them, and you get a lot of jewelers and generally useless skills. But that's what the military's for, which we'll explain later. Forget it. I'll deal with that later. Right now I need me a mechanics workshop. Oh, that is a mechanics workshop. I'm gonna make so I'm gonna go into the thing with Q again, and I mostly just added a new task and made rock mechanisms. The other one here is a traction bench. I've never used it. I believe it's to set like broken bones. So I just use it to make mechanisms which will power all of your stuff. You're hungry, dude. Okay, so as you can see, when your dwarf is flashing blue arrow or brown arrow down, it means they're hungry or thirsty. Typically your dwarves will feed themselves, you don't need to worry about it, but if you're noticing all your dwarves have blue arrows on them, then something went wrong and dwarves are hungry. Look how faster they move things with wheelbarrows. I should put more in there. Alright, then I'm just going to dump some of this stone. I'll just quick select it. Get rid of this stone. No one likes stone. It's cluttering up the place. Better items can go there. I can get it later by just, unforbidding it. Oh, I better create a dump. Remember, that's with the I button, and then I'll just create like a quantum dump file out here. If you're really feeling cheeky, you can actually build this outside of your stonemason's room, and it will quantum store stone there. Here, I'll show you. And we're gonna make this a garbage dump with D, and then the dwarves will start dumping the stone there. And if you click K and go over it, you can see the file has these weird brackets of it. Look above where I'm looking up. And I can click F to claim that, and now it's not dumped anymore, so it's just sitting there. And now this mason dwarf can go right here and grab it and go back in. It's kind of cheaty, but it's a great way to you know, get rid of stone without having to... I'm actually going to be really cheeky and just get rid of this little stockpile here. It's a great way to keep like stone together, or just to get rid of stuff really quickly but still use it later. But now I just got rid of those, so I'm going to dump these as well. Now see how they're bringing them to this one little location? And now that's right next to the stonemason, so I can reclaim all of those, and the stonemason will use them to dig, and it's cheaty, but it works. Look how clean everything's getting in there. Alright, so now that we've got a stockpile built, the next thing you want to do is go over this, the wagon, and with Q, have it selected, and hit X. Oh, I better move my head here again. See below me? It says remove building. You're going to want to do that because then your doors will stop keeping things in there, and they'll bring everything inside. And you also get some wood out of the deal too. So if you're playing at hard mode and don't have any wood, that's a great way to get like 6 wood. Your farm's ready, I better plant something in there. Like I said, B, make sure you go to each thing and select something to do it with. What you waiting for? I think he's... Yep, and now he's the mason, so he's using his masonry to finish constructing that bridge. Alright, is that wagon gone yet? Nope. I believe your carpenter goes over and just constructs it. Everything is getting moved inside. We have nice tables. This is actually a pretty decent living area where the doors can exist in. I can't build off of this bridge. I actually have to build a solid structure. So I'll probably create a wall along that to the middle until I figure out how I want to build the outcropping platform. Now, because I'm fancy, I might build like a big trading depot, which I'll show you here in just a second, and connect it with this with flooring. So there's no way to access that but the bridges, and then I'll probably have the entrance to my fort right here. I'm going to build a trading depot because that's another thing you're going to want to build, because I believe the first one comes soon. So that's just B, and then Shift T. Oh, no, Shift D. Yep. I believe it's in there somewhere. Yeah, but this is quite huge. You notice I said the wagons are that wide, but it doesn't really matter because it just needs... The wagons are 3 wide, but the trade depot is this wide. So I'm just going to build this out here for now, just so they have a place to go in case they come before I get this going. I'm just going to build this out at random, and then I'll deconstruct that later. And you can do that by, like I showed you, Q, and then remove building, and then they'll get rid of it later when I have no more use for it. Another thing you can do to see where a good spot to build the depot is Shift D. When the depot is built, it will show where it is accessible to reach the depot. So like I said about that dump pile, now I'm going to hit K, and you see all these rocks just stacked infinitely into this? This is a little cheeky, but now I'm going to go and, here, I'm going to move my little window so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, you see below me here, there's like the different things you can do. Dump, follow, claim, so I'm going to hit F to claim. And then I'm going to go down the line here, hit the plus arrow to go down. There's also another way you can do that with D, and I believe designation, so D, and then B for designations, and then I believe it's reclaim here. Yep, C, reclaim items and buildings, and you click on that and it will reclaim everything in there. And now that will just be this great little stockpile that this guy can immediately, start making weird stuff from. Like doors. Let's make a couple doors just for fun. Nice little stockpile is because now they can grab food from it and bring it up to eat, or they can grab stuff and quickly bring it into the workshop. Or what am I looking at? Architecture. Another reason to have an architect, and I believe that's because our mason is making doors. Oops! So I accidentally hit X to remove it, you can stop that. I will show you how. Oh, I'm still up here. Perfect. I'll just leave myself up here. If you look down, it says stop removal. So stop removing that. It does cancel every task going on in there, which I wanted to do anyway, so that's perfect. If you hit V, you can look at what your dwarves are good at and what they can do. That's kind of like Dwarf Therapist, but this is the way the game wants you originally to do it. And I hit V, and I'm going over each guy, and it says kind of what their task is and what they're doing. So, like, he's eating, and he's also my clerk, which, on that exact note, I'm going to want to build him a little bit of an office so I can get stuff, and I'll show you why. I'll just build him a little office right here. Trading depot is almost ready. There it is. Alright. So, how this works is, let's see, make sure this is accessible. Yep. So the trading depot is accessible. So when the time comes when a trading depot appears, they will start driving up. You don't need like 3 greens. This is basically showing, see how it's 3 wide, that the wagon can fit through here. And when I have a depot here, it will be able to work. But now when you go over this, one thing you're going to want to do, unless you don't have a broker, is make sure only broker is trade. If you look up, I'm pushing B. Anyone may trade, broker may trade. If you lose your broker, anyone can trade, but you're going to get terrible deals. If you click only broker may trade, that's going to make sure you get the best deals. R, it's currently not selected, but when a wagon comes, I want to go over this and hit R, and then the trader will come out and make sure he stands there, and he'll do trading. Right now I don't need him there, so that can stay there until the wagon appears. Alright, so I'm going to build for an office. It's super simple. Just a table and a chair. I'm also going to move my carpenter's workshop inside, because if I ever need something made, I don't want him running out there. So now I'm going to quickly check where the dark spots are, and we're good to build it right here. Alright, so I got my chair. I'm going to put that there. And then I'm going to wait for that chair to be built, because that's what you need for an office. You don't need a table. I like to make a table there because it's aesthetic. Alright, so I got a little chair and thing, and now we're going to make this a study. Enter. And I don't have a clerk right now, but in order to do that, if you look up, you see nobles and administrators. I'm going to hit N. And here is, like, don't get scared of this. A lot of these you don't have to worry about. If you're just playing around, you know, get used to the game. This isn't something you need to worry about. This is something, like I said, make things easier for you later. But if you want, it's a good idea to make a broker or a bookkeeper as well. And I'm going to quickly make a bookkeeper, and that is so I can track how much items I have, like how much booze and stuff I have. This is how much precision you have. If the higher you set this, the more time he spends in there working on it. I'm going to set it to, I think, low precision. You can keep it lowest, but I kind of want to see a little bit closer of how we may have it. And then you hit enter, because you got to fill this vacancy, because this is not, like, some ones like nobles will auto-assign, but these ones you assign yourself. And I'm going to put, if you scroll down, it will show you what relevant skills there are. And I'm going to put our expedition leader, who I made a broker. And there you go. And it sees he requires something. Yeah, there we go. And if you hit enter on it, he's the same as the expedition leader, so it shows it up there too. Hit enter on that, he says he needs office. He needs a meager office. And that's really easy to do, because this is our office. And we're going to assign that, and we're going to hit, well, actually, we get back to that. Q, assign chair, scroll down, and that was his name. And now he has an office. And if we go to N now the requirement is not red anymore, it's white, which means he has that demand met. He actually has a modest office, so it's even better than what he's used to. I'm also going to do the broker too. And as you can see, no one has relevant skills, but except for this guy who I made our nerd, basically. I'm going to make him our broker. Which means when someone comes to trade, he's the guy who will go out and trade. Okay, so in order to see stockpiles, you're going to want to hit Z, which is, I just saw it there. If you look up, it says status. That kind of gives you a basic status. And as you can see, it shows you your population, how much money you've made on everything, your different occupations. And before I got the counter, the counts wouldn't have been accurate. But now I know I have 10 meat, 9 fish, 12 plants, a bunch of seeds. My food stores are doing pretty okay at 120. I might want to see that higher. My drink is super low at 33, so that means I got to start focusing on a brewery, because the dwarves drink, I think, one per quick. So that is in the workshops, and that is under still L. That's right. Let's take a look. The top left one is untouchable, so I can just place that right here. Sure. We're gonna make this on firelight, and then I'll get them brewing as soon as I can. And on that note, I'm also gonna build a kitchen too. Okay, another really good thing. In this menu, you can also scroll up the top left, and you can see if you go into kitchen, you can just designate things to brew or not to brew. That is the question. If I push tab, I can change between the different categories, and it will say what to cook and what not to cook. Now, as I can, if you go to the drinks tab, I don't know why this is auto-selected. It's the stupidest thing in the world because you can't cook with booze in this game. You want to go through each of these and tell them not to cook. So I won't get weird biscuits like in my other playthrough, if you noticed. So those are untoggled. They won't be cooking those. But I want them to cook and brew plump helmets. If you're finding you're low on stuff, you can turn it off. Seeds are automatically selected not to cook. You can see it's red. That's good. You don't want to turn them on unless you're desperate, because otherwise you're going to blow through all your seeds and starve to death. I've got my still up and running. I'm going to make a bunch of barrels so I can start making booze. And then while I'm here, I actually start creating some goblets, because you remember in the last one where they started getting, the dwarves actually like to drink out of a goblet. They can drink out of the barrels, but they prefer to have a, something to drink out of. Now, in order to build goblets and other cool things, you're going to want a craft source workshop, which is R. And that will just fit right in here. Like I said, nothing to panic about. If you're just playing to get kind of a foothold, you can get to this point and this is a little bit more advanced to make things a little easier for your dwarves. It's nothing you have to focus on because nobody's going to start killing each other yet. Alright, and he built that really fast, so there's a lot of things you can make. Right now, I just want a drinking thing. So I'm just going to go to rock, I think. Yep, rock mug. I'm going to make a bunch of these. Then they'll use them to drink out of and they'll stop complaining about it. There we go, brew drink. I'm going to have them brew a bunch of booze so we don't run out. We are moving out of the red. Each barrel should create, I believe, like 10 drinks. Things are going well, though. Our dwarves are pretty happy. I'm going to build some doors, I think, just to cover up the front entrance for now. Ideally, you want to build, like, a gate, because that's only, like, trolls and stuff can smash through that. Anyway, this music's weird, so I think that's a reason to call it. Anyway, that's it for my tutorial today. We're going to continue on this one next time, so you'll see even more next time. I know this was sort of just more of the beginning, but it's important for repeating what you're learning. Anyway, once again, thank you guys very much for joining me today. If you're watching this later, give me a follow, and then you'll not miss out when I next stream. But yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. I will see you all next time. Bye!